Okay, so guys, welcome back to the channel. So this is the continuation of the church program that we were doing, the flyer that we were doing. So this is what I got so far, and I must say this is looking very dope. It is cool. So we're going to transform this 2D into a 3D text. So I duplicated this guy here, but then I just analyzed I think we have to bring this one into a new workspace and create the 3D out of it. So I'm just going to leave the shadows and all those things that we're not going to need out of it and just take it in there. Okay, so duplicate and put into the text like so. Okay, so I'm going to change the color to white. I think already this one is gray or whatever, so let me just change this one to, yes, that's cool. So I don't know, I've been doing this over and over, but most of you guys, somebody messaged me once that he still hasn't gotten the idea of how to transform the 2D into 3D. Okay, so I'm just going to go over again, but this time I'll try to be as more detailed as I can be. Okay, so let me turn off the text. So we're going to have the shield and the olive leaf. This is what we have here, and it's merged. We have it together. So I'm going to hold Control, then select the thumbnail of the layer. So as you can see, it has been selected. Then when you check this side, we have channels and we have paths. We're about to create a work path, and after creating it, you're going to see it here. So select the lasso tool and right click in the middle of the selection. So you select the lasso tool and right click in the middle of the selection and you click make work path. So you set the tolerance to 1.0 and just click on OK like so. And now this is the work path. So as you can see, the work path has been created here. Then after that, we are going to turn off the main layer here because we've already created the work path, and that is what we want. Okay, so after doing that, you move on to File, then you move on to Export, then you move on to Paths to Illustrator. Paths to Illustrator. You have to leave it like that, work path, and click on OK. So it's going to open up like a folder like this. Then you save it. So I'm going to save the Shiloh Night with Jesus text 1. Then you save it like that. So now it has been saved into the folder. Then you move on back to the path. You right click and you delete the path. So we don't have the path anymore. Then you come back to the layer side and toggle on the text. So now we're going to make sure we create a path, a work path for this two. So you hold Control once more and click on the thumbnail, and this is what you get. And you right click in the middle with the lasso tool selection, then you click on make work path. Tolerance at 1.0, click on OK, and you're good to go. So you're going to turn off the text, and this is what we actually want. So after that, go to File, Export, and Paths to Illustrator, and work path, and the folder comes up. So I'm going to name this Shiloh Night with Jesus text 2, and you click on Save, and you're good to go. Okay, so now I've already opened my Cinema 4D, and I'm using R14 because I have R20. I'm using R14 because there are some things that I need to get over it before I move on to the 20. So now that we are here, we're going to click on File, then click on Open. See, we are opening the text that we saved. So we move on to the folder where you saved the thing. Okay, so Shiloh Night with Jesus. Then you double. Hey, Charlie, seriously, double click. So you're going to set the scale to just 1 and click on OK, and you're good to go. So one thing you should note, when you get this path in Cinema 4D, you don't have to move it. You do not. That is a lot of paths. You do not have to move it. You don't have to touch it or like shift it to any side, because we're going to bring in another work path and it has to fit in this one that we have here. Okay, so we're going to go back to the file, and this time around merge, because we want to merge the one we're going to bring in plus the one that is already here. See, if you click on open, it's going to open what you selected, but it's going to open in a new workspace, but we want to merge it with this one. So merge, then you look for the Illustrator file once more. So Shiloh Night with Jesus 2, where are you, where are you, where are you, where are you, and found it. So scale, set the scale to 1 and just click on OK, and you're good to go. So as you can see, it was positioned perfectly in the middle as we want it to be, and as we did it here, you see it's positioned perfectly like what we did in Photoshop. Okay, so let me just save this work, and so I'm going to save it, Shiloh Night with Jesus, like this, and just click on save. Okay, so after getting this out of the way, the next thing to do is to add extrude NURBS. So you move on to the upper part here. You see there's this box effect that says hyper NURBS, extrude, loft, blah blah blah. It's a whole lot, but we want the extrude NURBS, so we're going to click on the extrude NURBS. Then after clicking, you see it has been opened at this side. So let me show you what we're going to do. You see there's this plus sign here, click on it, and it's going to reveal all the paths that has been created here. So as you can see, we're going to create a 3D part for each of them, and it's not going to be easy, but we have to do it. So I'm going to show you how to do the first one, then I'm going to speed it up to the last one. Okay, so first thing you have to do is drag the extrude NURBS on top of the path like so, and now hold the path and drag and just leave it. So as you can see, there's this arrow looking down on the extrude NURBS. Leave it like that, just leave it, and it's going to work like that. So if you look closely here, you see we have the 3D there. Yes, that is how it works. So we are going to do the same thing for the whole thing here, the whole part. So as you can see, we have 83 parts here, and when it comes to the other text, we have 13. So roughly we have like 90 something parts. So I'm about to create it, so I'm just going to forward it for you guys. Okay.
Got a chance to break now, here I fucking go. Take control of fate now, I control my flow. And I know that I'll be great, how putting on a show. I know that I'ma stay loud, drowning out the noise. The haters always thinking that they could fucking break me. They're better off eating their own words like pastries. Hate me, and you better find some fucking safety. I'm coming in hot like a bad bitch in pasties. They can't save me, no I ain't lazy, no. But society has me going so crazy, yo. Don't play me, no my mind's hazy, yo. And I'm sick of me feeling this way daily. I'll always live my life till it's over, and I will not forgive those who hold me down. And I will never give up, I'm moving forward.
Okay, so guys, I'm done. I'm being tired. Okay, so now that we have the 3D in place like so, it is going to be very simple to do whatever you want to do with it. So I'm going to select the Shiloh Night with Jesus text 1 and select all of these. I mean, I've been trying to find a way to make sure that like I select them all to apply the effect I want, but I haven't gotten any way, because using the extrude NURBS, definitely you'd have to go through the same procedure before you can select all of these guys. Yes, so the main reason why I'm selecting is I'm selecting them also I can apply the effect that I want to apply to them. So now I'm going to add some caps, some fillets, some fillet caps, whatever, anything that's going to spice up the work. Yes, so let me just speed this up again. Every time they doubt you, make that shit about you, forget about the clout, yo, fuck the word of mouth. Okay, so it's selected now. Then if you look down here, you see we have basic, coordination, object, caps, and funk. So we're going to select the object because that is where we can make the 3D as thick as we want it to be. Yes, so now position it as you want it to be. Like, you have to make sure you have the right perspective before you can start with the object. So the movement, first one we won't touch it, second one we won't touch it, but the 20 centimeters, that is where the length is. You see, I've moved it to like 139 centimeters now, and this is the outcome of the text. So like it depends on how you want it to be. If you want just a few, just add a few that you want to. And yeah, for me, I'll just go with this. Let me add like, no, let me subtract like 50 out from it. Or no, not 5,000. Who said I want 5? Said I want 5. No, I don't even want 500. Like I just want 50. Man, damn. Wait, 50 is small. What about 100? I think 100 too will do. Yeah, I think 100 will do. Okay, so now that we have this, we're going to zoom in on the leaf here and move on to the caps. So the caps is basically working around making the edges soft or round or something. So we have start and we have end. Start is for the front here, that is the front face that you see, and the end is for the back face, the back that you see here. So yeah, you should know that. So now let's zoom in again and work around with it. So for the start, I'll select fillet cap, and you see the effect that came out. The moment you select one of them, you're going to see changes, and this is the change that came in. So the main reason why this is too bloated and looking very big is because the radius is set to 5 centimeters. So I'm going to send it to like, I'm going to reduce it to like 2 centimeters, and yes, this is 2 centimeters. It is a little bit cool, I don't know. Then we have steps here. The steps, which ensures that like the edges are very round. So as you can see, I'm moving the steps forward and the edges are becoming very round. Yes, that is the use of the steps. And should in case you want to, make it as very round as you want it to, you just go around with the steps and you're good to go. Okay, so for the back really doesn't necessarily count, but I don't know, let's just add it because you might have like a deformed artwork or like a deformed 3D after you're done with the whole thing. Okay, so now I've selected the same thing I selected for the start for the end. Okay, then after that, for me, I would want to duplicate this guy and add something else to it. I want to have like a very thicker another thicker 3D around this one that we've created. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold Control and drag this guy. So like now that I've dragged, you see we still have the selection in place, and now you're not going to select the whole thing again. So I'm just going to take out the head, and that's the Shiloh knife with Jesus. And as you can see, as soon as I took that one out, we had the cuffs and the fillets and the object and all those things coming back in. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to send the text a bit backwards. You don't see it because it's the same size and the same everything. Then I'm going to add stuffs to this. Like I'm going to add a few adjustments. So I've added like I've made the radius like 9 centimeters, and for the steps, let me reduce it a bit. I think 6 will do also. Yeah, I think 6 will do. Yeah. And the main reason why I'm doing this is because I've already visualized what I want to do in my head. Like I want to have this front face of the 3D in white and have the back one, that's the one that I just duplicated, in green. Like I've visualized what I want to do. That is why I'm going with what I have selected now. So it's as simple as anything. Just visualize what you want to do before you start working around the 3D. Okay, so now I have done something to it, but I still feel like it has to be much bigger. Yeah, that's how I feel. So I'm just going to add more to it. So like more. Okay, 10, I think 10 centimeters will do. And let me reduce this to like 13 or so. Yeah, I think this will do. Okay, so now that I have this in place, I think I'm good to go. And I'm not going to come back into that selection again. I'm not going to use the first selection, that's the Shiloh knife Jesus text 1. I'm not going to use it again. So the moment I select something else, it means I can't come back unless I select them all again. And I must tell you, it's a lot. It's a whole lot. Yes, so I'm not going to go back there again because I have all that I want. Wait, really? Maybe I might want to go there again. Or let me just add a few adjustments to the end too. I'm good to go. Okay, so now I'm very certain I'm not coming back here again. Then we're going to select the Shiloh Night with Jesus text 2. You see, this one is like the text only, so we can apply any effect we want. You can leave it like this. You can, I mean, it depends on what you want to do. So for me, I'm just going to add a few stuff to it. I'm going to select them all, and I think they are 13, and 13 is not much, so definitely this one is small. Okay, now that I've selected them all, let me zoom in more. I'm going to add like a fillet cap to the start and do the same thing for the end, and I'm going to reduce it to like 2 for the radius for the end, and for the start too, I'm going to reduce it to 2. And let me see how it's going to turn out. Definitely it's going to be perfect. Yeah, I think this is cool. This is cool. Let me take it to 1. Yes, this is cool. So after doing this, I'm going to duplicate this as well, and the same procedure, hold Control and drag, and you've duplicated it, open it and take out the heading. So for this one, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to set them to fillet, and what fillet does is it basically takes out the, I don't know how to put it, but it's like it's taking out a hole in the text. Let me drag this out for you guys to see. Yes, if you can see this, there's nothing in the middle here, so we have just the edges only, and that is what the fillet does. So I've applied it to the back and also to the front, so that is the start and the end, and I want it to come out just a little bit, so something like this will do. Yes, and I'm good to go. I just don't want to add much to it, just this, because when you add like your lighting and everything, the shadows are going to do the work itself. Yes, and for this work, I'm not going to add any warp or any whatever to it, because I want it to be as simple as anything. It looks very much here, but when you add your colors and everything, it's going to be very simple. Okay, so now let me move on and add some colors to it before I add the how do you call it, the lighting and everything. Okay, so down here you have create, edit, function and texture. You click on create, then you move on to load materials. So you want to load your materials, and I'll make sure to leave a link in the description. This one I'll make sure to do it, then you guys can also get the same details and everything. So I have this Mercy Matte, it's all materials, and I have the Cinema 4D Studio lights here. They are all like things that you can use. So I'm going to select the Mercy Matte, and these are the materials that are in the Mercy Matte. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I want white for the front. That's the Night with Jesus. You see, we have two, the one with the fillet and the one with the fillet cap. I want the one with the fillet cap to have like a white thing. Okay, so we don't have white in the material, so I'm just going to work around this one and make sure the white works perfectly. I don't want any other interruption or whatever. Actually, this English thing is not easy. Okay, so like I'm not going to get a bright white here unless I add some luminance to it. I don't know why, but I've been working with this for like a while now, and yeah, the luminance always adds more white to my this thing. Okay, so after that I'm just going to hit the close, then drag. Let me make sure it's the correct one I'm selecting. Okay, so that's the first one. The first one is the one we want to add the material to. Okay, so as you can see, we have it in place now, and this is one problem you have to look out for. You see there's like a gray coming out of the how do you call it, the text. Yes, that's because the edges are very thin. The fillet that we added, the edges are very thin, so we have to make sure it is very thick so that the material doesn't pop through. So I'm just selecting them so I can add another look at this. I added like 2 to it, and this is what we have. This is very dope. So just 2, but I don't really want it to be much because 2 is way like a lot. So let me try 1.5 and see if it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to work. Like 1.5. Yeah, I think it worked. It works. So definitely I can try 1.2 because I don't really want much in there. Yes, I think it's working perfectly. Okay, and also it's true. It's very I think it's showing too much, so I wanted to go back inside. And the main reason why I have to come down here to look for the arrow is because I've selected all the text, and that is the main reason why. Unless I select the main heading, that is the Shiloh Night with Jesus text. If you select the main heading, you are going to have the arrows right in the middle, like so. Yes, so something like this, and we're good to go. Okay, so for the second text, I want to have, you see, the work we are doing is like a green theme, yeah? Like a green, light green and green theme, something like that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add like a deeper green to the fillet, the one, yes, this one. Very, very cool. Then I'm going to enter the material because there are some few adjustments I would like to do. Meanwhile, then you keep on saving because Charlie, once you work now, ECG for them now, where we are now, they don't care about you. They just take off the lights without saying anything to you, and that's really dope. It's really dope, if you understand what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I'm adding a few adjustments to this guy. And guys, I've really not mastered the material editor, else I would have done like a tutorial on it a long time ago. Yes, I haven't had much experience in that one. And yeah, if I get more experience, I'll make sure to come and teach you guys, because yes. So some few adjustments to it, and I think it's cool. Now I'm going to close it. So now let's move on to the next one. That's the leaf type of thing, the leaf and the shield. So for the leaf, you see, this is going to be a tough thing for me to do because I just realized I need to make this guy a bit smaller, but I've already made it this bloated, so I don't know how to do. And I can't take it, I can just take it off like that, because if you take it off, the work is going to look very raw. Let me try and take it off and see. Yes, look at what we have here, and it looks very raw to me, and I don't want it to be like this. I definitely want my details and everything. So let me just add the color, the material to it, and let's move on. So I think the same green is going to work with it, but this time around let me enter and make sure it is much deeper, because the first one was a bit lighter. Okay, so now it's much greener, and I think it's cool. Then the original one is going to have the same white effect that I gave the other one. It's not much, and it might confuse you, but this is it. Like, this is the whole thing that we want to go in for. So one thing that I wanted to do was I wanted the Jesus to come out, like it should pop out something like this. Yes, this is what I wanted for the Jesus. Then the shield and the leaf will be at the background. Then there's going to be like a shadow coming off and popping inside. I don't know if you understand all those big words I'm using. I don't even know what I'm saying myself, but I just want to teach you guys, so Charlie. Yes. So I guess I have to make the white text very long at this point. So let me just select the 13 again. This is very tiring, like whenever you want to do something, you have to select them all again, Charlie. It's very tiring. It is very tiring, but I mean, for the love of y'all, I just gotta do it for y'all. I mean, yeah. So now I am satisfied and content with what I have. Let me render without the lights and see how it's going to turn out. So if you want to render, we have these three guys here. Click on the first one and it's going to render out for you. So yeah, I'm rendering the first one to see how it looks like. And for now, you're not going to see much because there are no lights in there to show up the details and everything. So let me quickly add the lights and we can move on. The main reason why my PC is lagging and doing all those things because the RAM is almost completely finished. Everybody is using some Cinema 4D, Photoshop, Premiere Pro, Illustrator, Lightroom, everybody. So for the lights, you're going to click on File, click on Merge, and select the Cinema 4D Studio lights, and it's just going to pop in there like so. Yes, like this. So after it is in, you have to do some minor adjustments. You have to make sure the light is in place, like it is where you want it to be. You see, this one is on the side. I want it to be there. Then I'm going to hold Control and drag to have two of them, and drag out. Okay, so when you select the softbox controls here, we have like a rotation thing where you can rotate the softbox. So you just use it and just go around with where you want it to be, and now you're good to go. So now I'm content with where it is looking. So we are left with the overhead softbox. So the overhead softbox also is in place, and for me, I want it to like slant a little bit and pop some light, something like this. Yes, this is very cool. So yeah, just going to add some few adjustments to it, like so. Then I'm going to zoom in like this, then render again. So guys, after this, there's not much I'm going to say again, because that is the whole procedure behind the Cinema 4D text and everything. So after you are done with this, bringing in the materials, bringing in the lighting and everything, you just position, make sure you are good with it, then you just move. And also, I'll make sure to do a separate video on how to render in PNG and also in JPEG. Yes, so guys, that'll be it for this tutorial. Let's finish with this and let's see what we're going to have.